Hello everyone, welcome back to D1 Crashout. I think this is one of those ideas that people don't really like discussing, but everything that you do is inherently transactional, in which if it's everything, it's frankly a meaningless label. But what you do, you spend time and energy on, right? Everything is a balance and optimization game. You should most likely, it's a 95% confidence interval, to sleep 7 to 9 hours for your average adult. And as you get older, it becomes less past that point. And when you're younger, you should sleep more. But the bottom line is you need sleep to recover and rest. But if you recover and rest and you have no resources like your food, you are missing out on potential gains that you could have because, well, you are recovering using your resources. And however, if you have nothing to recover from, like you didn't work out, and you need to stay up later to enable to fit in that workout, then that would also be beneficial. But you also need to make sure you recover. And things like that are examples of the ways that the world works against you, and you need to balance your transactions. You are limited in your resources and also meeting your personal demands, right? Like sleeping and taking care of yourself and your body. You are also limited by the resources that you personally have as an individual, not only the ones that are your physical, like your energy, but also your time that you need to allocate for your recovery, but also just you as an individual and your capita to invest in your motivation and what are your personal priorities and the things that you feel like you have to do in order to maintain your lifestyle, like, a job. So, yes, these are examples of transactional things, but this also comes to like your friendships and your personal relationships. Like if you're a doctor and you work 18 hours a day, it's or you spend like 372s. It's sorry, 324s. Whoa. 72 would be crazy. But you spend a lot of time at your work, and your personal relationships are probably your coworkers, and it's difficult to have a relationship outside of that because you're very unavailable. And even for like high schoolers and people who aren't into professional life at that degree yet, they still are dealing with the ramifications of transactional relationships. Like you have school that you need to worry about, you might have extracurriculars. In order to spend time with friends, it's easy if they're at school. And if you need to text them, that's time that you're on your phone and disengaged from something else. And if you want to spend more time with them, you spend more time with them. And to reinforce those bonds means to take time away from potentially newer opportunities or individual opportunities that you have yourself. And I feel like people don't really have an emphasis on that. They don't realize that spending time with people is an investment, but your time is a commodity, right? It's something that you lose. You don't gain more time. Like you could have a perfect lifestyle and you can get the most out of your time, but like from birth you only age and develop in ways that cause you to have less time. Like you could argue that your potential is at the highest and you may never realize it, but you can only serve to damage yourself, which yes is very pessimistic, but also is very realistic. And you could have routine and it makes life seem to move faster even if time is objectively the same, but your perspective changes and you could always chase things that are novel in order to slow time down because your brain has to focus more on balancing more variables. But that also means that you don't settle down and commit to one individual thing if you're always chasing something new. And there's a lot of balance there. There's a lot of life that people live in which there is a lot of in between. Things are not clear cut. And when you talk with someone, hopefully you either genuinely enjoy that experience or you would rather spend time with them and talk to them in that environment than, be awkward and talk to no one. Or you would rather fill the time with someone that you don't particularly like, but it's better than being alone or being in the void all by yourself or being bored. But these are examples of like trade-offs of transactions, right? I'd spend time with someone because I would rather spend time with them than continue to work on my research for another 4 hours or make another video like this. I watched a Happy Gilmore too with my family today, and I would rather spend time with my family than spend time in the dungeon right now like this, or work on my research, or pick up more hours, like an additional job that pushes me to late night hours. I would rather do my job than, play pickleball all day. And I'd rather get money and do a job that sometimes is frankly very boring than to, move on to a different job like food service that would pay me more and has nothing to do with my major or developing my personal skills because I value, feeling like I'm productive and learning and actually doing something new and socializing, even if it's with the kids, then pushing myself to do something which is more outside of my comfort zone. So, yes, trade-offs, transactions. It's everywhere. Everything that you do is transactional, and frankly, this is something that you don't like feeling as a friend. But you don't want to feel like you're on thin ice. You take people's time for granted. You take food for granted. You don't want to think about like, oh, there's a way that I could just lose money or like run out of money and therefore not be able to pay the bills. But you pay for food in one way or another, or maybe somebody cares about you and how they feel emotionally, or their morals, or what they feel like other people deserve as human rights is what is putting food on your plate. But that's a transaction. Like, even emotions and feelings and morals are, transactions. I feel like these people deserve these rights, and I'm going to enforce them in that own way. So, throwing that idea out there. A little bit of a short crash out. Wanted to limit myself on the time with this one because I could just go down the rabbit hole of examples all day. But life is inherently transactional. Everything that you do costs something. Like, basic, super fundamental econ concept, and including making these videos, is time that I'm spending away from research on my family or playing more games of comp with my friends. So, something to think about. And you could go down the rabbit hole, but it doesn't really do anything for your life. But it is something to recognize that you have limited resources, and that everything that you do costs them. Okay, that's my D1 crash out. Bye bye, everyone.